All right. Morning. Thank you for being here. I'm just going to talk about a couple of things that I'm encountering. My disability different from yours, varies, but a little in that the population I serve is a little different. So I want to see and share what STEM looks like from an every-service elementary teacher's perspective and why it's really relevant. I want you to talk to me, so it's kind of an interactive presentation where I'll be. A pre-service teacher is one known as teachers go through a teacher certification process. They can teach in Texas. They have a bachelor's in interdisciplinary studies, usually, which is a 4-year program, which is attached to teacher certification. So when they teach elementary, they have to take certain tests. It's called the PPR, Professional Pedagogy and Responsibilities and the Content. I have to go through student teaching. Before they do all that, they call pre-service teacher. They do all that and graduate, and they have a job, they call it in-service teacher. So teacher with a job is an in-service teacher. So I choose to be. Yes. One of these teachers. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I am most unremarkable. I like this picture because of the snake. But yeah.
We have.
Really? Alan. These are my kids. This is the population that I deal with. And if you look at this picture, it's a little blurred, but it's a good enough picture. If you look at what I feel about these students, what do you see when you look at these students? They're very colorful. They're very colorful. How old do you think these are? 17. They go anywhere from 21 to 56. Yeah. What do you notice about the ethnicity? What ethnicities do you have? Do you find this? You do see some Caucasians, yes, you do. You do see some African Americans. My classes are predominantly Hispanic women. And depending on the semester, between 50 to 75 Hispanic women, sometimes even more. A lot of them are non-traditional in that they come from community colleges. A lot of them are married. A lot are late bloomers in that they've got married, they're pregnant, or they have 3 children already, and then they come to school to get there. So, what is STEM? I mean, just to think about it is, what do you know about STEM? And why? And what my whole problem is that I'm trying to present today. What's the between STEM and nothing? I teach, and I'm a science educator. I teach a teaching science course, science course for wannabe elementary, middle, high school teachers. So undergraduate and graduate, but this is more with my undergraduate. So these are my undergraduate, wannabe elementary teachers. Why do we care? What?
A lot of them have to teach science course.
Yes. A lot. They are certified teaching Jesuits. That means they have to teach science, math, EF, as well as social studies. And you have to teach 2 of them. You know, either hired to teach science and math or ELAR and social studies. They also have to do a little bit of music, PE, and stuff like that. It's important to me I often ask them, hey, what do you know about STEM? Where do you come from? Where do you experience it from? And I do it in the simplest way, which is both in very good. The simplest way, not to be very unexclusive, in that ask them, hey, tell me what you know about STEM. Because to me, it's really important. My lens is a little different from theirs. And that is, we have fight, kind of. It's kind of a fight between lenses and who. Here is semester, and this is something I'm working on. I ask them, and I do this with something called raw scientists. You know, you give them a piece of black paper and you say, draw science. Don't try and get in my head and try and draw what is in my head, but draw what's in your head. And I like to draw because they have trouble expressing themselves in writing. So I do similar to this. And when I say STEM, and I put STEM on the board, what is it that comes to mind? I just want a couple of things. This was one of them. And our 38 students, 7 went through this. Now, my question was very broad. It was just, well, my neighbor said we're going to talk about STEM today, and we talk about different things. This was the first part of that activity that said, when you talk about STEM, what do you think of? Kind of little by surprise, because teach from science is an everyday life thing. So STEM is an everyday life thing. And this was actually able to draw a lot of things, but when I asked her, like, okay, so what exactly about this is STEM? And a big problem that I'm having, remember, these are wannabe teachers. They're going to elementary students, yes. Yes.
I think clouds and stars, they can be much later.
Yes, that's true. If I had a very in-depth definition with her, conversation with her, I could have drawn that out.
Yeah.
But when I asked her, okay, so tell me, explain this to me, she was able to do any of it. She has no explanation to it. She was okay, this is STEM. And she told me about her favorite class being gardenias. And I remember because that's my favorite class too. But that she was not able to work any of this. There's a telescope. I asked her that. She isn't a telescope. She said it's something that's in her garden that is there that came with the house. Yeah. Sure, I did. I had some 6th grade students come, and I asked them, hey, what do you think of STEM? And where do you learn STEM? Answer these 3 questions. Draw and play in words what STEM means to you. They did this in class with their teacher. And it's really interesting because very traditional STEM, which is where we go. We about science, technology, engineering, and math. And they didn't answer where do you learn about it, what do you learn about it, so that you can be successful in life in college. And I have pages and pages of these that I'm just reproducing one of them. Interesting because this is a great student. And so he's more of an explanation than my students could. I had STEM, and then he or she says it means science, technology, engineering, and math, but also smart, talented, evolving minds. I'm thrilled to see that. Whoa, this is 6th grade. Again, where do they learn STEM? Then all of my students actually go to a STEM school. You know, there are some schools that are STEM schools, some schools that are ordinary schools. Not good. So, more students don't go to STEM schools. In my batch, out of 28, only one of them went to a STEM school. It was a school that was either a public school, or 3 of them went to private schools, but they were STEM schools as such. So it's not a STEM school, it's you're to that. So they learn STEM in the STEM Infinity Lab, and they also learn it in building and machinery. So the students from a STEM academy, which is things like that, it's probably accounts for it. Subjects put together to form more challenging subjects, simple to learn because it's dealing with rocket science and subjects that learn like to get jobs like this, you need to learn STEM. For a 6th grader, when my students can give me that. And here's the problem with my students. It's a you say, what is STEM? It's science, it's technology, it's engineering, it's math. You hit a brick wall. The brick wall is that's what is in their mind. That's I am dealt with. When I'm there with STEM, I'm there with this and the brick wall. So, for me, the problem is how do I shatter this brick wall? How do I get to see something that is more than just an life or evidence? How do I see deeper than that? Because if this is what they know, they're going to communicate with their students. And that's the problem. If these are going to be elementary teachers and they're going to communicate this to their students, and they're non-STEM schools, what happens to those students then? So that's what I'm trying to deal with. And I did look at definitions, so we looked at this in class. We said maybe it's the definition of STEM that's aggravating the problem. This is a comprehensive definition. In STEM education or STEM, or if you Google it, you're going to find like 30,000 hits. Everyone who has an opinion has a definition. Science and inquiry and other things like that. We have this definition and we found the definition. It's really, but the context is the problem. And the context with regards to, first let me just fix the pieces, couple of things. 3 research. Let me tell you, there are a couple of dirty words. One of the words is science. There's nothing to do with their everyday life. Because some of them learn science like me. Learning was all memorization. All memorization. When you memorize something, when you memorize Newton's laws, everybody in my class can tell me everything has an equal and opposite reaction. Yeah, but what does it mean? What is everyday life? What science means in everyday life, it's a problem. And the big thing is that real world lessons. How much talk with the real world context? So here's another dirty word. Nice. I know they don't, it's embarrassing to say they don't like science. It's this big couple of laws that they have to memorize and it's in the middle of nowhere. It's got nothing to do with that. But math is they don't like. The first thing they ask me, how much of your course is going to be math? With this, can I get away without doing the math? It's really bad because we do mental math, some and there must be data, and you promise there is going to be no math. Why calculating what is that you need to know how to calculate what density is. If I say density, you know density is mass by volume. But if I say that mass is 10 and volume is 2, you need to be able to divide those and come up with density with the unit of the mass. And these are not the dirty words. They building stuff, but they really know. Technology, lovely word for that. They love technology because then, yeah, this is a technology. And then it's true. This is technology. I can give my phone to a kid and they can visit irreparably and they know what they're doing. But I have no idea what I'm doing. Actually, I mean, if they we're dealing with historically a lot of problems. I am dealing with it, and I think it should done. It's hard to get those things out of there. Between school community work and the global enterprise. My things are not global. They don't even know where Waco is. And they're not, because it's not that I'm making fun of them. They don't have a situation where they can be roaming around the universe like I like to do. They don't. I keep telling them, okay, where am I from? You're from India. Where is India? India is somewhere there. No, look at this side. It's somewhere this side. So, kind of mobility they don't have. So, having a mission like this becomes very complex. And often becomes element for them to actually cross. We're trying to break the brick wall. So, here's one thing. I mean, ask them, Google it, and tell me what your definition of is. But don't understand it. And if it's prevented to you, it is a problem. So, you know, education is ruled by the mighty CEA. CEA is the Texas Education Agency. They were on for 3 days. We were not. We were like literally staggering up and down and, moving according to their heartbeat. NEA is ruled by what are known as P. These are which are called concepts, essential knowledge and skills. And it gives you, let me see if this can come up. I'm not sure this will come up, but yes. Come on. Yes. Okay, this is your website. Okay, I think this education agency. These are the, it's chapter 19, Texas Education, Knowledge and Skills for Science. And this for elementary, middle school, and high school. And you have the science courses. Now, these are critical. Let me pull up one, just so you have an idea of what it is. Okay, come on. You can go to this web, hopefully. Oh, maybe click on the top. Okay. This is what it looks like. This is what rules are school teaching. And believe me, these are very restrictive. If you grade 1 and it is described, that you're expected to do, described, because you're expected to follow the technique to match. You're not supposed to divert from it. My students teaching after they come to me, And they're stuck in your place. Because you do this, our supervisor says, take the sheet and stick to it. And eat only the sheet. And so, when it come in there, 100 goes flying out of the window. Because if you look at the teach, and I did this yesterday, I did like, I copied all the elementary teeth into one. You got it? Yes, actually I did. I did in system. STEM. And that is everywhere. But systems is not really STEM. I mean, the STEM in systems is not really STEM. There is mention of STEM in the text. Yeah, is it changed? Yes. But does it say so? No. Similarly, school teach. Nothing. The closest I know to the teach is when you come to high and you do wherever. I saw these, which is chapter 130, which actually talks about career and technical education. Now, if you're going to wait, okay, yep. Wait, try school. Read technical education. Try to talk about the teach. Well, then world is going to leave you behind. Looking forward and then you realize, see, everything is there. Also, another thing we are crippled with is the national science standards. These national science education standards have been changed. And now we have the next generation of standards, which are very, very STEM relatable. And I really like them. They're beautiful and they have cross-cutting concepts and all kinds of things. But, you know, we can take it. They're never going to get any better than that. So, actually take a head out and say, I'm going to do NTSS with these beautiful cross-cutting 10 concepts. No. But there is the test. This is the star test, and for science is just grade and 8th grade, and I don't have any of those concepts. So, we're totally handicapped. I think we are totally handicapped because 38 students or 28 students who are wanting elementary teachers, who want that for their students. And 1 year away from me, they're all going to graduate and become elementary teachers and get jobs and start. But the big problem, the curriculum here is there. That is, what do they want? That's where it comes in. And they, hey, they're already educated in math, so what? How do you go beyond that? And that's what this meditation is. And just my experience, I'm learning, because I learned, I'm 54. I learned about STEM. If I went to school long time back, we went there. So another picture is just on the way. I can tell you, I did my master's in chemistry in 88. But then, no. So, I did it in 2005. Well, then a little bit. So process. But I have people who would open my eyes to it. I was old enough to make sure that I could open my eyes to it. But what do you about my students who are going to be teachers that impact so many elementary students? Can we say, okay, these are elementary students, they don't need to know about STEM. They don't do just how to learn courses. All they do is to pass the test, the fifth and the eighth grade test, and so they do not get into trouble. Do you hear what they know? Well, I do, and here's how I attack it. Here's the problem. I enrich them. In that, I not only have to teach them how to teach science, which is what course is about. It's how to teach science. It's a method course. But it's a method course. There's a lot of science content that I also have to teach. And then my students come to me with having for science courses. They've got A's in their courses. Everything. They don't know the concept that we study, they memorize it. And then they come to the test that they have to take, the certification test, they have to try 2, 3, 4, 5 times, which gets into trouble. So, that's a huge problem. So, that's how I try and attack it. With this I try and attack this. Everything. My thing is, can I be consistent? And so I have demons, which are time, which science, technology, and math. And then you have them, technology and engineering. You don't engineering at them because they don't know what it is. They've never taken a course. But the problem is, you don't have to take a course to know it. Yeah, or I can be able to give an idea as to what it is. So, yes, I'm almost every class or every day with STEM in everyday life. They say, what is that in everyday life? To me, both are interchangeable. Of course, I have to be more careful with the terminology there. And I say STEM is an everyday life thing. What does STEM in everyday life look like? If you look around, what STEM do you see? I mean, to say, yes, that's how, see, that's, again, the lesson. That's it. You're biologist, am I right? Yes. So this comes to you very naturally. What is related? After a couple of things I will get a computer. I will get. Okay. What else is related? The building. Things like. All right, everything is related, but the problem is you don't see it. Because some that is then should say that technology, engineering, and math. So I also use the example here. Is this there? And it's let's talk about it. D word. The D word is really important. Yes, the design. What do you mean by design? I know I'm talking to people with PhDs and have a lot of high knowledge. I'm not to this audience. My audience, so forgive me. I'm not trying to sound patronizing or anything like that. But this is I go through with my kids. I have talked to them about design. And talk to them about design, I have to say, okay, what does that mean? So there are reasons why the chair has size. Why size? Why is it that some chairs don't have size? I use such as an example. One of the very sleepy students sitting in 8:30 in the morning, and the chair doesn't have time, then I would like stay up all night. This is not to resort to. You know, make it more accessible to them. So you say that it's supposed to, I do not fall. Yes, the reason is another thing. Why does there be reasons? Not so you can stand up and put the projector on when it doesn't work. Yeah, it has, why does it have this? The back, why is this next to the these are the lost. And most important, how did it made? Body shape in this room. Use it to handling. So, okay, there is specific reason for design. And design is usually happening. It's in a situation where you can't handle it. Yeah, high chairs are beautiful. But make 40 chairs, I mean, they don't make 40 at a time, they probably make 4,000 at a time. So I think they will make them. Okay, it's going to involve some kind of factory. Now, if there's a factory, there's never been to a factory. So, okay, I have this between donuts. Well, I think it's clean because they're nice clean. Well, students are nice clean with a lot of good stuff. Here's what I think is important. If it's the only donut shop that I know, we actually see the donut being made inside of like what do you call that thing? Design, yes. And it goes from the visit of the dough and the dough thing, and then we find the dough with holes, and then it goes up in this one thing, and then it's and then for 13 hours, and then it slowly comes down, and then once it ferments and it grows big, I mean, when I talk to them, this is what they can see. And then it's tested in the oil, and in the oil, it clears the other side, and it goes through the waterfall. There are no even touching it. Of course, we have to talk to them about sanitation and things like that, but that's an idea of mechanization. Of this is mechanization. And when you ask them, when you buy 53 donuts, like triangular, one donut that's like circular, we have one donut that's in square. All of them should look the same. Can I make two chairs? Can I have one chair that will say that is only for me and one chair that is made for the person? Because there's no big size difference in here. And we have to keep our heads, we don't mind saying that. So, you talk to them about all this. So this mechanization and this whole notion that something is made in an assembly line, you introduce the fact that this is what precise engineers do. And that's precise technology. In this elementary class, it's really hard to say, let's use technology. Yeah, we take them to websites, we have apps, if you go to school, yes, then you have many more things, that they do. But at an elementary level, it becomes really hard. So, you've really got to I've literally got to open their eyes and say, hey, the coffee, I have a coffee mug, and everybody loves that because I leave it all over the place. They're all lost, they're called coffee mug. But we don't, how is the them related? So we literally have to give them multiple examples of the things we can relate. And it doesn't really fit the definition. No, it is. But for a starter, that's where I need to start. See, at least amenable to looking at, hey, this is self-related. So I was reading yesterday when one of the students in my night class, she came and told me, I had a great time because I was in school and I told my students, hey, this is related. I was just saying related. And then I asked them, so how do you get related? I was struggling a little bit. But because she talked to us so many times about it, they got into self-related. Yeah, Martha, that's great to talk about batteries and mechanization and, the process in which you have engineering and technology coming together. But I'm also keeping an eye. So the question I have is, problem I have is how do you communicate to a pre-service teacher? Even if it's not restriction. In fact, yes, you can use it as a starter and go somewhere else. This is not enough. Because we also have to talk about context. That we don't have any context for it. Talk about stuff that, oh, this is 10 and that is 10. Yes, take example bridges. My favorite. What's the bridge? So I asked that, they're like, what do you want to know? So I'm like, okay, where's the bridge that you, what's the bridge that you cross? Little, not figuratively. Little, and then they have to say, oh, is the overpass a bridge? It's really a bridge. So, context, we talk about bridges, and that's only one of the things we talk about. So, here's where I'm going to, here's an activity of this. What is this? What's the bridge? Why do you use this? Where is this bridge that you actually came across? Can you identify them? And then, of course, I like to give them context, and so I do a lot of this because a lot of students don't go places. They here. I told them Gate Bridge, which was my favorite bridge. And it's famous in national origin, and we talk about how it was built and what kind of, and that's usually a 3-hour class on this. In the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge, and everybody knows this, and they're like, yeah, I know this bridge. I went to this bridge. Do you know you cannot walk on this bridge? Yes, you cannot walk on this bridge. And so drive on it.
And you close it and you can run the White Rock Marathon.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes, once a year you can, yes. I would like to walk, park, get off, and take pictures, but that would be yeah. Bridge. Just to give them that bridges exist all over the world. A really famous old bridge. It's in 1894, and I use this also because this was built by Gustav Eiffel from the Eiffel Tower, and from here we talk about the use of trusses. Fine, as I said, that's a 3-hour class. I just have 15 minutes more, and so we have the use of triangular trusses, and how does a triangular truss help resist wind speed? One they freak out with the Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel, which actually goes under the sea. It goes to the sea so that ships can go up in front. And then how do you do that? I would be too scared. It would break. Yeah, this is where science, technology, engineering, and math come in. Precisely so that doesn't happen. The beautiful hello, sunshine, sky bridge. We talk different bridges just to give them context. because they're able to go. Of course, you can always ask them, so tell me about any bridge that you have climbed. And I didn't include this in the picture, but the most interesting bridge, my favorite bridge is the Golden Bridge. I mean, but the most fascinating bridge that I've got is actually in South Texas. It's in a forest, and the bridge is this. When you look at the windows in the picture, and then, but you can Google this. It's a bridge in Oregon. It was built quite a few years back so that a warship could go under it. But when you did it, you're like, how is that possible? I mean, I was like, it was just fall. Of course, right next to that, they have a new bridge. I think that's called the Rainbow Bridge, but it's a really fascinating bridge. Now we give them this. Here's what I do, and your 5 of you, 4 of you, so you can, there are materials back there. Let me tell you what I want you to do. You can try this. How to give them materials and get them used to thinking and how to get them in that to make that relationship. So then do that. So how do we know it's important? They do that. Is working there and to take those materials, the materials are very simple. Please do not eat them because they are no, please eat your own snack. And so the materials are materials that we use in everyday life and that they are very familiar with. Yeah, you're making a bridge. You're making a bridge, move it to one foot. And make a bridge that will hold my phone for 60 seconds. If I can threaten my students, so usually don't let it fall. Do you have insurance? Yes, on my phone, yes. How long do you have? I think I'm at 11:15, so you have about, yeah. And this is just to give you a sense of what I do. You use all the types of materials. You have to use every single piece of material, no.
There is a long-standing problem. The way that there was solved that problem, the seven bridge problem. Honeyberg problem is like you can Google.
Okay.
It's about 7 bridges. Okay. There are 7 bridges, and the bridges between 2 towns. Yes. So there are 7 bridges. Wow. And you have to vow to yourself that you follow a bridge only one.
Yeah.
So you need to come back where you started.
Right.
And like A&B.
Yeah.
So that's Honeyberg problem. You can also use.
Yes, I will. Absolutely. Yeah.
There are teams.
You can either work independently or you can work as a team. All this is just to try to, manage the materials and see what happens when you try that. And we have used materials that my last gratitude for you to me yeah, happy to buy you coffee. Absolutely. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. There is no winners or losers here because this is a continuous process.
And only now you.
Now you. It's not on my phone, yes. And phone? My phone is an integral part of.
I feel only my phone is the same, so I can, if I can pull my phone, because I can get covered. I don't want to get snapped on your phone.
Oh, sure. Okay, we use your phone.
You can.
Yeah, no, the ruler is measure condition.
I thought I'm going to do this one.
That's like, too much of blood.
I need a bridge that example.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
But it's not too long.
You can say it. So that's exactly what.
Oh, okay.
That's exactly what. I'm not waiting that easy for you, giving you material that will exactly fit across the bridge.
Oh, okay.
I do that
So
for
you're doing it on purpose? So
Yes.
that should be a 5%?
No, this distance, the only thing is that this distance should be for windows.
Okay. So maybe a bridge is there. Oh, I don't know. How long is it?
So we have 12.
Yeah, and so I'm not giving you materials that are exactly for windows. So we need a rule. Too much time to do this, but in class we do it a little differently. We talk about first of all, let's design it. Before we do the materials, we talk about, okay, how do you design it? And what do you do to design it? Remember Dr. Khan spoke on it.
Yeah. I'll use my bridge.
I'm gonna take a look. We can use.
No. You need only the food items on the napkin.
Right?
Well, if you can be with me all day, I will be for that. We could do it in so many different ways, but I think you have other things to do too.
You know, I'm at a conference right now.
Oh,
Commerce.
oh,
I drove from Commerce.
oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I'm doing that.
I did that. Thank you. Now it's like my feelings. Can we just do you mind?
Yeah. I think that's a good memory.
All right.
A whole,
Oh.
60 seconds. It should stay on it for 60 seconds. in this color, every 10 minutes, I give videos that they have to incorporate. Yeah. No. But also use that as a teaching moment to say, hey, it's perfectly okay to read. Yeah, because everything is, I mean, we have 409 and magically with a clean up everything. And it works and we my phone right off the phone number for
Only my grades will pay my.
my grade, your the other reason to take home. And yeah, but 3 seconds you just have to hold it. So I give you another like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and this is what you. And I do it myself. Yeah, if we still know we have more material. But we also keep our janitors very, very happy because and they're not used to us in this building, but they are used to us in they know.
If you get involved in another station. You need more.
I'm sorry.
Everything is correct.
Just hold like this.
Suffering from control here.
Don't worry about this.
Thanks to you,
How are we doing? Yeah, remember, I mean, this is just to give you what and why how to do this. I have to be asked to do this. Okay. So, okay. All right, I'm going to be there. Yeah, we can write anywhere, or we can move the. You can have, yeah. Yeah, with more material. Yeah. stay for 60 seconds. Yeah, oh, my phone has got to stay on it for 50 seconds, for 60 seconds. Well, the thing is, that's a really interesting design, so maybe we put it on this, maybe we put it horizontally and put more support. No, your hands are here. There's more to work. So from a design like this, then we talk about, okay, so what's the problem with this? And yeah, exactly. So here's what I'm even, well, sometimes you can stick them to the table. Sometimes I give them other materials to stick to the table. Yeah, I know. But you're always welcome. I will come with a full compliment. All right. Okay. Here you go. The problem is, my hasn't sure, but she didn't say that. No, it said the bridge. Yeah, so the bridge cannot be held by you. Yeah. But how do you have it? You can either with usually have more sticky stuff that you stick, and you have more materials that you can, yeah. Yeah, right in the middle. All right. That's the bridge. That's the bridge. What are you talking about bridge? A bridge is something over. I know. Yeah. So, I know. What do you think? You do see why this is. Yeah. That's start to think how to get it, right? Yes. And we start to design and we start to think about more about materials, which of these, and then they start to think about, why do you give us a switching marshmallows? Because usually what I do is I put marshmallows outside, overnight. So you have some squishy ones, some hard ones. And then, yeah. I want to sweetheart. You have to know what is ready. Before you go, one more thing. No, I also. I also show them this, and I think things are very and we talk about the importance of STEM and how STEM is taught. So you probably let me forward this one. You can also go this way, but this is the Narayan bridge, and very interesting bridge. I don't know how to forward. No, it goes from. Oh no, thank you. I hope you know when here it is. What I want you to see. Oh dear. So we also talk about displacement. What are all those people living downstream of Port Sale? I mean, the idea of displacement of so much tons of road is steel falling into the water. What to do to the water level? Yeah. And why is this important? That's my presentation. Thank you for letting me. Thank you. you.